turning on the Wi-Fi like Obama to a white guys. Temper in the center of winter filled with some white lies. But that's politics, gets colder than the wildest thing.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Six with Ian and Thomas. Champions League is back. Got some important news with that. He's very excited. I know about that one. FA Cup is back. Got the semifinals wrapping up, heading into the finals here in the next couple weeks. EPL, just a few games. There weren't many because of the FA Cup. And then we just got some little tidbits of news from around the world. I'd like to start with the FA Cup because that was played before Champions League. My boys in blue routed Southampton 2-0. Very much needed win for them to advance to the finals. Saying is obviously, City has wrapped up the league title and they are out of Champions League. There's one last chance for silverware for them, and I'm hoping they can beat it. They do have some tough competition because Man United beat Tottenham 2-1 in their semifinal on the 21st. So the final for the FA Cup will be Chelsea-Man United on the 19th of May. It will be played at Wembley, but Chelsea is actually going to be the home team. So we still technically have that home field advantage. That's going to be a fantastic
It's going to be a great match.
I'm very excited for that. Two big teams. Obviously, FA Cup, it's always, larger teams. But, two teams that are in the top 5 right now fighting for, places in the league standings as well. What focus are they going to have on this? I think Chelsea will focus on this a little bit more than United will, simply because it's their only chance for silverware.
Right.
I guess it's the only chance for silverware for United as well.
Probably true.
But also...
yeah, it is true, yeah.
But also United, they've kind of secured their spot in Champions League. So, they don't really need to focus on that much anymore. They can kind of ease off the league a little bit. Obviously they still want to retain second place for their pride. But Chelsea are still fighting in the league. So,
Right.
How is Antonio Conte going to, distribute the players, distribute the energy between the players so that, they're not tired, but they can still win these games that they need to win.
Hopefully
Chelsea
just,
game,
perform well so that, they've got that confidence to make a good run coming into the end of the season to see if they can't push themselves up a little bit farther in the league.
Obviously, winning this would be a huge morale booster.
Sure.
For Chelsea, because I think that's what they need right now. They need something to kind of push them, into where they need to be, because it just hasn't been happening. Let's see that game. The Chelsea game 2-0 is a goal from Olivier Giroud and a goal from Alvaro Morata. Two names so I haven't heard on the score sheet in a while. Obviously Giroud is an older player. He's not a starter. He's a sub. But he started this game, and Alvaro Morata needed a goal because he's been off the score sheet for a long time. So obviously this game was a huge boost for him to get back to where he needed to be.
I think so. Olivier Giroud has never been one of my favorites, but I think he's really found a niche at Stamford Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's having a better time with Chelsea than he's had at Arsenal for the last couple of seasons. 3 or 4 seasons ago, Giroud was the go-to guy at Arsenal. And he's kind of petered off the last couple of years. And he's not been the prolific goal scorer that he once was. And I think with the change coming to Chelsea, kind of refreshed things a little bit for him. Gave him a little bit of a kickstart to go at it again. And he's performing. He's scoring goals. And he looks like he's enjoying himself, which is good. And especially heading into the World Cup, because I'm sure he's gotten the call up to the French team.
Absolutely.
And so that's going to help out with the morale and his confidence going into that tournament, because the French team typically in the past has been pretty strong. The French national team is not a slouch.
I mean, they've got players. They've got Giroud, they've got Griezmann, they've got Mbappe. They've got stars on their team, and they can perform. Speaking of Arsenal, where Giroud came from, we've got some big news on them coming up later in the episode.
Yeah.
Moving on to the second match for FA Cup, United Tottenham. Dele Alli scored early on in the game. Sanchez, another name you haven't heard on the score sheet in a while, for United, scored right afterwards. And then Ander Herrera scored late in the game to finish it off. Alexis Sanchez has been nowhere this season.
Even before he left Arsenal, he was having kind of a hard time. And then leaving Arsenal and going to United, it was, hopefully going to be kind of a, the same kind of thing for that Olivier Giroud is kind of going through, just kind of a fresh start. And it's just not happened for him. He's just not fitting in for whatever reason. The skill is there, the talent is there, the ability is there. Something really big is missing from his game right now, and like you said, he's been nowhere. And it's really kind of rough to watch. I mean, because this is a world class player. He was once a Barcelona.
He's still going to be a world class player for Chile in the World Cup. I guarantee it.
Absolutely.
I think it's the exact opposite of Olivier Giroud. He found a niche where he just didn't get what he needed. He's lacking something.
Yeah.
And Jose Mourinho just hasn't taken the time to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can move on from this, this valley in his career, and hopefully find another team, or find where he does fit in the team, so that he can be successful. Moving on, we got that big news at Arsenal. After 22 years,
yep,
Arsene Wenger will be leaving Arsenal at the end of the season.
Yeah, that was.
I'm not that old.
That was
big. I'm not that old. He's been there longer than I've been alive, which is insane.
And the last couple of years, Arsenal kind of has a reputation in the English Premier League for being the team that starts off strong, goes through the middle of the season doing pretty well, kind of cruising a little bit, and then toward the end of the season, typically after the Christmas break, they just start to crap the bed. The typical Arsenal meltdown, and they've been known
Arsenal
for that, especially the last couple of years. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. And every time that happens, you see that the fans holding up the sign, Wenger out, and then they kind of have a little bit of a resurgence, and it's Wenger in. And there's even some really cool YouTube videos, Arsenal fans, and they're all either for or against, depending on what's going on. They're always the opposite of what's going on in the news, because now that he's announced that they wanted him out. And again, it's a parody. I can't remember the name of the guys that do it on YouTube. I'm sorry. I wish I'd give them a shout out if I knew who they were. But so if you guys know, put it in the comments. Because it's kind of cool to support them. But now that Arsene Wenger has announced that he'll be leaving the team, or Arsenal has announced that he is leaving. They're like, oh no, we want him in. He's such a legend, and that's true. That's 100% true. This guy is a legend. He's been, in the league with the same team for 22 years. And he's got so much silverware. FA Cup titles, league titles, Champions League titles. If there is a tournament to win, Arsene Wenger's Arsenal has won it at least once.
Yep.
And that's pretty outstanding, but he's had a rough go the last couple of years. and there's already the rumors are swirling about who's coming to take his place. Where's he gonna go? They're talking about Patrick Vieira coming from NYCFC in the MLS. Taking his place. I think he's kind of at the top of the short list right now from what I'm reading online, which is kind of cool to see Patrick Vieira back in the league. They're talking about Arsene Wenger possibly going to West Ham. How huge would that be? So these are all just rumors right now. The rumor mill is really starting to really wind up with all this stuff. So it's kind of cool over the next 4 or 5 months.
Gotta love football rumors, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's always something to talk about.
Some of them are just you're ridiculous. But you mean some of them you think are ridiculous, and then it happens, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay then.
Well, and I remember a couple of years ago when Manchester United with Alex Ferguson retiring.
Yep.
And the rumors were David Moyes was taking over, and I was like, I kind of squinted when I heard that. Like, really? Yeah. He wasn't the manager that I would have thought of to be the replacement for Alex Ferguson. And nothing to slight David Moyes. He wasn't the guy that I first thought about. I thought about guys like Rafa Benitez or or Jose Mourinho. Those were guys that I thought of. So Arsene Wenger going to West Ham, not completely out of the question. How solid is that rumor? What's the source? I can't tell you. Only time will tell. So over the next couple of months, we'll know some more. But yeah, the rumor mill is starting to really start churning right now. It'll be interesting.
I think, and I hate to say this because it's going to be very detrimental to Arsenal and its fans. I think Arsenal's going to go through a few seasons very similar to Man United.
Sure.
Where they struggle for the first couple seasons after Arsene Wenger, because he's been there for so long. There hasn't been a huge change in tactics and a change in what's been going on. So it's going to be a very different style that we're going to see from Arsenal, and it may work. I'm hoping for the sake of Arsenal fans. I have a few friends who are Arsenal fans. God bless their soul. That will we'll kind of struggle over the next few weeks, because of what's going on. I think Arsenal will recover, just like Man United has. It took like 2 seasons. Man United is back, in Champions League. They won Europa League last year. I think it'll be a struggle, but they'll definitely get through it.
Yeah, I think so.
No, go ahead. Moving on, I'd like to move on to the Champions League matches, semifinals for that as well. As we mentioned in the last episode, the matchups were Liverpool, Roma, and Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. The first game was on the 24th of April. That was a roller coaster of a game.
It was a fantastic match for me as a Liverpool supporter. For 80 minutes, it was solid Liverpool. The last 10 minutes, it was solid Roma. A roller coaster. And
it was a big rise throughout the entire game, and then just one big drop right at the end.
Yeah, and the funniest thing about it is you stop and think that Liverpool won that match. I mean, it's still a resounding victory for them. In leg one at Anfield, but it's kind of weird to think, okay, we just won 5-2, and we're disappointed. Just because of the fact that
hard.
Yeah, it is hard. You're up 5-0. And then all of a sudden, you give away a goal. It was a good goal. The penalty I thought was a little harsh. But
I saw it. It was definitely harsh, but
it is what it is.
I think recently those calls have been definitely going towards the attackers. Calls where the arm is extended in an unnatural, what's called an unnatural position. It's been definitely going in the attacker's way the past
going
few
in
years.
the favor of the attacker. But still, it's 5-2. But the like I said, Liverpool came away with the victory, and it's a pretty solid aggregate for them to go into leg 2 next week at Roma. But Roma's got 2 away goals.
Yep.
That fast. So I mean that's a little bit of a mountain for Liverpool to climb. At the same time that that Roma's got to go. Of course now Roma's going to be at home, so they're going to have the home field advantage there. But they're going into leg 2 with 2 away goals. So Liverpool's got some work to do if they want to push forward and move on to the finals. And it's going to be really interesting. But like I said, it's just kind of funny to think that, okay, my team just won 5-2, and it's not the result I wanted. I'm still happy for Liverpool that they've got that 5-2, so the aggregate is definitely in their favor. But they, like I said, they've got their work cut out for them to kind of surmount the fact that Roma is going into their home field advantage with 2 away goals. So
and you
it's going to
definitely
be interesting
can't
next week.
You can't count
No.
Roma out.
No, they've been giant killers the
after
whole
what
way.
they did to Barca.
Yeah.
I mean they were down, I believe it was 4-1
Yes.
against Barcelona. They had that 1 away goal, and then they beat Barcelona 3-0.
Yeah.
Tied it up on aggregate, but because of that 1 away goal, it sent them on through. It's amazing what having an away goal can do to a team.
Yeah.
Because right now Roma's thinking we absolutely have a chance.
Absolutely. I believe
just gotta
100%
go
they
in.
have a chance.
They have to beat them 3-0. 3-0 is what they need.
Yeah.
And, you can beat a team like Barcelona like that at home. I don't see why you can't do that, no offense
Sure.
to a team like Liverpool.
No. But and they got bad news, Oxlade Chamberlain
Yep.
got hurt early in that match, and he's out. He's going to miss the World Cup apparently. So
Alex
that's
Oxlade-Chamberlain is out with a cruciate ligament injury in his knee.
That's a
So,
pretty devastating blow
he's-
to the Liverpool midfield.
Yep. Yeah, he doesn't get a lot of credit for what he does. He's a huge player in the midfield of the Reds. And, obviously, Liverpool have some youngsters that they can use to replace him, but, it won't be the same. It's going to be hard to, use these younger players in big games like this. This is, what's considered to be the biggest tournament in the world other than the World Cup.
Yeah.
And you've got, 18, 19-year-old kids who are, making their European debuts. It's pressure on these kids. I'm very excited to see how they perform. I'm very excited to see the second leg of this game. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And I think the same for the other match that was played with the semifinals. Leg 1 was Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. And it was actually, to me, it was a little bit of a surprising scoreline at the end. It really was. I thought it was going to be a good match, and it was. It was a good match. Mm-hmm. I really had it kind of going the other way. But Real Madrid, even, not in possession, still kind of controlled the game a little bit and came away with, a 2-1 win. So, I mean, that's going to be huge for them.
I think the biggest thing that Bayern Munich had to overcome in that game was the fact that they had 2 subs in the first half. Arjen Robben was subbed out in the 8th minute. That's a huge player for Bayern Munich. Arjen Robben is 800 billion years old and he can still strike a ball like he's 14. It's absolutely ridiculous some of the things that he can do as old as he is.
He really is still very impressive.
You got Jerome Boateng, who came off in the 34th minute. That's a huge defender in the Bayern Munich defense. That's a huge gap that you had to fill in. So I think that definitely helped Real Madrid. I haven't heard any word as to what might be going on with those players. Why they got subbed off. I was unfortunately not able to watch the game. But if you have to lose these players like Liverpool does with Arjen Robben, that's a huge loss for Bayern. We've talked about it before. They have depth in their chart.
Sure.
But it's still a morale kind of drop to the team to see these players go. not be able to play. And Real Madrid is very good at exploiting the small little holes that a team has, which is why they are so good at football.
Well,
A lot.
And this tournament's not a small tournament. I mean, this is the Champions League. These are the top teams across Europe battling each other to find out who's the best for the year. And it's coming down to and it's always the cream of the crop. And it's always the big guns that show up. Bayern Munich and Barcelona and Real Madrid and teams from the Premier League. There at one time there were 5 of the 8 teams were English teams. So they always bring out the big guns. The Robert Lewandowskis and the Franck Ribéry's, and the Cristiano Ronaldos and the Mohamed Salah. These guys are the ones that are counted on by these clubs to shine the brightest. Bayern Munich has already clinched the Bundesliga title, so that's something they really don't have to worry about right now. So they can focus solely on this tournament now. Yep. Sure that they still have league matches to play, and I'm sure they want to do their best and they want to win those as well.
Oh, absolutely.
But they don't have to put as much concentration on those now because they've already clinched the title, in their home league. So they can really kind of, put a roll of quarters in their fist at this point,
And it's the opposite with Real Madrid right now. Real Madrid is currently 4 points behind Atletico, who's in second. And they're only 2 points ahead of Valencia. So they're sitting in third right now in a very vulnerable spot at the end of the season with, Barcelona has basically clinched it. I don't believe they have yet. But they're sitting up top with 83 points.
No, actually, I think I saw a picture of Felipe Coutinho with the trophy. So, yes, they did.
It would make sense as they continue. You might have seen the Copa del Rey.
That's what it trophy. You're right. That's what it was.
They won the Copa del Rey against, who was it? It was an absolute. It was a 5-0 demolishing of Sevilla, with 2 goals from Luis Suarez, a goal from Lionel Messi, Iniesta, and Coutinho had the 5th goal as a penalty. It was just in a final of a tournament. That's just ridiculous. I mean, you don't see that kind of stuff, except in Spain, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
interesting. You mentioned Spain. If Real Madrid continues, like I said, they've got 2 away goals going into the second leg when they go back to the Bernabeu for the second leg. They've got 2 away goals, so they've got the advantage. The aggregate's in their favor. The away goals are in their favor. They are facing Bayern Munich, so it's going to be a good match. But if they continue and they knock Bayern Munich out of the Champions League, it will be the 4th time in a row that when Bayern Munich gets kicked out, it's by a Spanish team. Every time they've been knocked out the last 4 times, it's been a Spanish team that gives them the boot. Kind of an interesting.
And it's always either Barca, Real, or Atletico.
Yeah.
I believe Real has done it the last. They've done it more times than the other 2, just because Real has made it to the final the past 3 years, I believe. I believe they're going for the 3rd title in a row right now, for Champions League, which is just insanity.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see. Like I said before, I'm definitely rooting for Bayern Munich. I just because I'm a Barcelona fan, I want to see Real Madrid get kicked out.
That's fair.
Also, I'm in the end for the finale. I'm kind of rooting for Liverpool, just cause see a team who's not usually there make it this far. Yeah. I'm hoping if Bayern Munich makes it past Real Madrid, I think that'd be the best draw for Liverpool. If they make it past Roma. like I said
and
before,
I think they'll be able to
my
pull it off. I think there's a solid chance for Liverpool to go through, and of course, I'm rooting for them too. I honestly, if I have my choice between Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, I would rather they face Real Madrid. I think they have a better chance against Real Madrid.
really.
To me,
What makes you think that?
Bayern Munich is a force to be reckoned with. They have very few vulnerabilities, in my opinion. Real Madrid can be a little unpredictable, maybe not as consistent as a dominant force. Still a wonderful team. Still, a very hardcore, very talented, very skilled team, very organized team. But I think Bayern Munich is stronger. Is stronger of the two, and I think with Liverpool, if they make it through, against Roma, which I think at this point is really kind of a 50-50 shot. I don't know I don't know what the bookies are saying, but I think it's kind of a 50-50 shot for me. Going against one of those two teams, I think that Bayern Munich would give them definitely a harder time. Real Madrid, like I said, has just a few more vulnerabilities for me, and the inconsistencies there. Bayern Munich they're a freight train. You can't stop them.
Yeah. I kind of have to say I would rather Liverpool face Bayern Munich because you said Bayern Munich doesn't have very many imperfections. I think their biggest one that they have is age. They have a lot of older players on their team. It's very hard to keep up. Liverpool's very young right now. They have a lot of speed on their side. I think if you were to, play a younger team, it would be a little harder for Liverpool to get past.
I think I can concede that. I'm still going to stand by my original, statement, but I see exactly what you're saying. You got guys like Franck Ribéry and Arjen Robben. They've got a little bit of age on them, but you have to understand they may not have the speed, they may not be able to take those quick steps anymore, but the football brain that they possess is
absolutely
insane.
It is always going to be there.
Yeah, that's not something that on either one of those guys has diminished a speck. They may have lost a step or two. They may be a little bit longer in the teeth, but what's between their ears is still on fire. They know where to be, when to be there, and because they're not as fast, they play just a little bit smarter. And certainly not taking anything away from any Liverpool players. They're fast, so they're not smart. Guys like Mohamed Salah, who's scoring goal after goal after goal. It's because he's smart too.
I believe the most recent stat that I saw was 48 goals in all competitions this year.
Yes,
which is insanity,
and still not the record.
Just watching, which is even crazier. But watching that game, Mo Salah had his two quick early goals. He had two chances to get his hat trick.
Yeah.
But instead, he gave the goals away for the assist, for the benefit of his team. He's got that mind. He's got those eyes to see, I don't need this hat trick. My team needs more goals.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them
And he's
goals.
got that understanding that an assist is still a goal.
Absolutely.
And a lot of young players, this dude's still pretty young. Was he 24, 25, something like that? But he understands, I could score a goal. Mm-hmm. I could take the chance of, getting a hat trick that, might not go, or I can get the assist and guarantee a goal. Mm-hmm. And he's got the understanding to know that assist is going to be every bit as good, as if he'd scored the goal.
Yep.
and a lot of people don't understand that. An assist is just as good as a goal. Don't take that crazy shot from the weird angle that has a low probability of success. Put it into a danger area and let one of your teammates finish it off for sure.
Cross it into Bobby Firmino. Cross it into Sadio Mane. You've got big guys in the box that will finish it off for you.
Right.
But I think with that, I have one more thing to add to the end of this episode, unless you have anything else.
Go ahead and do yours, and then I've got my standard feel good note. So I look out for this.
As of posting this episode, this will be episode 12. There are 46 days left until the World Cup in Russia starts.
Wow,
getting close.
It's
very
coming.
Excited for that.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for that too. I still haven't decided who I'm going to root for, because obviously the home team's not going to be there. But I've got ones that I'm gonna look for and hope they do kind of well. And of course you got the powerhouse guys who are going to be there. Portugal, Spain, Germany, Belgium. Those guys. I'm kind of looking to see what Egypt can pull off with Mohamed Salah. So that's going to be exciting.
Personally, although like you said, the home team's not going to be there. Usually in that situation, I try and just kind of watch football for the football.
Yeah.
But I think in this, because it's such a big tournament, I think I have to be rooting for Argentina. This is probably Lionel Messi's last chance.
Could be, yeah.
To get the coveted World Cup title. I'm hoping he gets it. I'm hoping the Argentinian Football Association can get its act together and put up a good squad for them to make it through and possibly make it back to the finals again.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be hurt by that at all.
With.
Yeah, I wouldn't be hurt by that at all if Argentina came away with the World Cup.
Yeah, unfortunately, like you said, there are the powerhouses that they're gonna have to make it through. They put up a hell of a fight against Germany 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they can put up a fight to get back there. But we'll just have to wait and see.
I have to wait and see. So, but is that everything you've got? And I'll give you my feel good story to end the episode, and then we'll move on for next week.
Go ahead and close it out.
I think it was last week or the week before. I don't remember if it was episode 10 or 11. But I mentioned that Cristiano Ronaldo sent Marcus Rashford a pair of the new Nike shoes that Cristiano Ronaldo had helped design for, of course, the CR7 brand. And Marcus Rashford went all over, Instagram and Twitter, blah, blah, blah. Hey, look at the cool thing I got from Cristiano Ronaldo. Hey, thanks for the gift. Apparently Ronaldo was very impressed by that. So he sent Marcus Rashford an autographed game-worn jersey. So Marcus Rashford has now doubled his super cool CR7 Cristiano Ronaldo official collection with an autographed game-worn jersey. So kind of cool. Kind of a neat thing that this one of the top players in the world is kind of looking after this kid, who is amazing to watch. Marcus Rashford has a phenomenal career ahead of him, and it's kind of exciting. But I just think it's kind of cool, that the guys that people like me, people like you look up to these guys, and it's just kind of cool that they're looking up to other people too, and they look up to each other. Hey, we're doing something pretty cool here. I'm gonna pat you on the back. It's just kind of neat to see stuff like that. So, and. That's really what I have. So,
all right. I think we're gonna end off this episode. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in to episode 12 of Inside the Six. Check out our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter. Those will all be in the description. Check out our t-shirt shop. I am very close to getting up those new t-shirts. Those will be up in the next couple days. And check out our sticker shop. I'll be adding those new designs to the sticker shop as well.
Cool.
As soon as I get those finalized. Check out Macrophonic MC. He's a good friend of ours.
Please do that.
He does our intro outro music, which is fantastic. I have all of his music on my phone, and I listen to it, at the gym, while working on schoolwork. I listen to it all the time. Once again, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in, and we see you all next week.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good week.
Still holding on to Wi-Fi like Obama to a white guys. Temper in the center up when they're filled with some white lies. But that's politics, gets colder than the walrus stick. There's so many multitasking, they multi-taxing in spite of it. But I might go big, fighting it, standing aside and timing it. Go ahead and peak my temper, I'll meditate and then write it.